Good evening. My name is Ryan Cam, and welcome back to another music series here on the channel. It is Wish You Were Here, and it's time to take a look at the band known as Pink Floyd. And to join me for this series, I have three, not just two, but three lost souls swimming in a fishbowl year after year. Hope someone gets that reference out in the audience. Starting things off from Townsend 505, it's Nick. Nick, how you doing?
Pretty good. Had a good day at college today. This is my last week of college, so pretty happy about that. That's about it.
All right. Next up, Jacob Martin. Jacob, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to dive into this strange little album, for lack of better words.
And from SoundLab Studios, it's Scott. Scott, how are you?
Doing good. Getting ready to talk about Pink Floyd. It's going to be fun.
Well, we'll be talking about the band, a little bit of how they got started, plus this album. But let's get right into it with
background information.
So, Pink Floyd as we know it. They got started in 1962. They initially, after many name changes, they started off with many name changes, but they settled on what was initially called the Pink Floyd Sound, which they lopped off the and the sound to just go with Pink Floyd. This album is seen as the birth of psychedelic rock. It was recorded at Abbey Road Studios, literally right next door to a band called the Beatles. I'm sure some of you have heard of them.
While they were recording Sgt. Pepper.
Exactly. And fun little note, Pink Floyd actually sat in on the sessions for Lovely Rita. And I'm sure they must have gotten a lot of notes from that. The album debuted at number 6 in the UK and did just as good in the States. It was the album was just called Pink Floyd in the US. It was not called The Piper at the Gates of Dawn in the States. In 1973, for reasons related to another album we'll be talking about later on in this series, the album was re-released as a double album of sorts, with Pink Floyd's second album called A Saucer Full of Secrets. The pair of albums smashed together was called A Nice Pair, which is just an amazing name, but I digress. This album is not only the start of Pink Floyd, but it's also the end of something, because the name Syd Barrett is going to come up quite a bit when you talk about Pink Floyd. You just can't help it. But Syd Barrett was the original lead singer for the band. He got heavy into LSD, which explains a lot of what all is going on in this album. And the stigma was that Pink Floyd, everyone was just doing acid in that band. However, from all accounts, it was just Syd, or Syd was the worst of it. However, Syd, his use combined with his declining mental health, basically led him to a quick exit from the band. However, his loss hit the band pretty hard, to the point where when we get to another album in this series, Wish You Were Here, it's pretty much dedicated to Syd and his memory, but we will cross that bridge when we get there. I wanted to do Pink Floyd because 3 of the albums that they've done, Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, and The Wall, are among my favorite albums of all time, regardless of genre, music style, the like. So I wanted to do their whole discography. I knew that I was not going to get there until like it was going to be a lot to get there. However, this album was just it's certainly something, all right. But Nick, just your initial thoughts. What did you think?
So, I've been listening to this band for a very long time, for pretty much the same amount of time I've been listening to Queen, which has been a pretty long time. And of course, my introduction to the band. And by the way, if you don't mind, I'm going to give you my since this is the first Pink Floyd series, first video, I'm going to go over my whole thing about Pink Floyd in general.
Yeah.
So I first heard about Pink Floyd because of Dark Side of the Moon, of course that. And I mean, of course, the very first song I heard from them is, Another Brick in the Wall. That's their big hit. That's a song that you hear on the radio a lot. And well, actually, the first Pink Floyd album I heard was not Dark Side of the Moon. It was The Wall, actually, believe it or not. And initially, I'm like, I don't know if they're up there with the Beatles, but then I heard Dark Side of the Moon, and that changed me immediately. I'm like, this album's great. It's like a concept album, and like, this might sound stupid, but I'm like, I thought that was the Beatles thing only, doing concept albums. So definitely a little laughter there for me, but Pink Floyd concept album, but I mean, of course, Dark Side of the Moon, one of the most iconic albums of all time. Sound wise, production wise, it is the greatest album of all time. Just isn't one of my favorite albums, but production wise, it is the best album of all time. Anyways, now for this album. When I first heard about this album, it's like, David Gilmour not on the guitar, Syd Barrett. I'm like, who the heck is Syd Barrett? And when I first heard this album, I thought it was really weird. Like really, really, really weird. But I liked it. I actually liked it. I'm like, this album actually has potential. Like an album that I could see myself really liking. And the more I listen to it, the more it rises on the ranks. And to me, this is one of my favorite Pink Floyd albums. It's not what you expect from Pink Floyd, knowing what you hear on the radio, but to me, I think this is a really good psychedelic album. I know a lot of people will think it's too weird. I know I'm definitely going to be the only one who's going to be giving this a very high score, but I would definitely love to hear your guys' thoughts on each track going further, because this is a very intriguing album, and yeah, big fan of this album.
All right, Jacob Martin.
Yeah, Pink Floyd is a band. I've listened to like the big songs on the radio. I think my introduction, I was listening to the classic rock station, and Another Brick in the Wall played. I was like, what the heck is this song? We don't need no education. What is this? And then the more I listen to it, I'm like, this song's got a good little groove to it. I like that. So then listening to more classic rock, you listen to more Pink Floyd, and I'm like, yeah, they got some cool stuff, especially on a production level. I knew nothing about this 1960s period of Pink Floyd, especially like the psychedelic period with the Syd Barrett and all that. This entire album was a blind spot, and listening to this album twice, I still do not get this album. Like, this is a weird album. I think the more I'm starting to dive into a little bit more listening to other different albums, I don't think me and psychedelic rock kind of fit my wavelength. Like, if it's like a mainstream hit where it's in the psychedelic, like what the Beatles did, and that's fine. And then the Doors dabbled into it a little bit too. But then something like this where it's like full blown psychedelic rock, where you could just clear that like they were on drugs making it, and these songs are just acid trips. I'm like, these songs aren't really my thing. The craft is there, yes. And there's a few songs on this album that I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't mind listening to this again. But for the most part, I'm like, yeah, I probably won't love a Pink Floyd album till Dark Side of the Moon, probably.
Oh, I know one that you'll like before that.
Well,
I'm pretty sure, but we'll find out.
I have a feeling that this album really is, you're either going to like it or you're going to hate it, with literally no in between. But Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, so Pink Floyd, my earliest memory of Pink Floyd is, again, like you guys, you, me, and everybody, hearing Another Brick in the Wall on the radio. And I remember my mom would always change the station every time that came on and say, what's wrong with that song? She'd be like, that's Pink Floyd. They're weird. And then she would proceed to tell the story of how she saw them live in the 80s, which of course that was after Roger Waters had left. But I'm still upset. Like, you hate Pink Floyd, but you got to see them live. How does that make any sense? I'm jealous of that. But anyway, that was all that I knew about Pink Floyd for the longest time, was just that song, and then I'd never actually get to hear that song because the station would always get changed. Anyway, later on, when I was getting into buying records, I went to the record store, and my brother bought The Wall on record because he kind of got into buying records as well. And we didn't listen to it yet then, but the first we listened to, not on record, he didn't get it. He's like, this is the one I want to get. It's The Dark Side of the Moon. And I look at the album cover and I'm like, oh, I've seen that album cover before. That's the one that everyone's got on the t-shirt, you know, with the prism that's turning the light into all the different colors. So I'm like, let's listen to that. And we just streamed it. And I remember thinking, this isn't music. This is just a bunch of random sounds. There's hardly any singing. I kept telling him to skip around. I'm like, what is this, clock noises? I was like, what is this album? It's just sounds, and then they sing every once in a while. Boy, did my opinion on that album change. Needless to say, I didn't like that the first time I heard it, but the more I listened to it, the more it was like, because it's a classic album. You're like, I'll give it another try. And the more you listen to it, the more you're like, I think I get what they're trying to say with this album. Now, this isn't just a collection of singles. This is an artistic statement. And then, of course, I listened to The Wall, and I have a whole story about when I first listened to The Wall. But I heard The Wall, and I'm like, so it's like, okay, time to deep dive Pink Floyd. So I put on this album. This is a long time ago, 2022, I think, maybe sometime around right before, right after I started this, not this channel, but my channel, Sondheim Studios. I was like, I'm going to do a Pink Floyd deep dive. I play this album, and it's... So now, on to my thoughts on this album, my brief thoughts on this album. This album is the musical and auditory equivalent of walking into an art gallery, and a blank canvas is on the wall with random brushstrokes everywhere, and everyone else is oohing and awing about what an artistic statement it is, and you think, it's just a bunch of brushstrokes. It makes no sense. It's random. It makes no sense. But everyone else is like, you just don't get the artistic integrity of the. And of course, that's. I say that, but I would probably say that to somebody who would say that about Dark Side of the Moon. But for this album does not make sense to me. It's basically Acid Trip the album, and especially knowing what they would go on to make, like Wish You Were Here, The Wall, Dark Side of the Moon, Metal. Oh, you're going to love Metal. Echoes, that song is awesome. But those are all like really like mature sounding albums that delve into some deep subjects, such as isolation and loneliness, life, greed, time passing away, getting old, departure of a loved one, the greed of the music business, honestly, the greed of any business, and Welcome to the Machine. And then you got this album that's just, my mom's reading me stories. There's a scarecrow. I have a little lovely bike. All within the background, like, I have a bike and it's lovely. It's just like, it's not a very mature album. It's very, I guess that's kind of its appeal, is that some of it has childlike whimsy to it. But knowing what Pink Floyd would make later on, I'm just like, this is not my preferred era of Pink Floyd. Like, I get the appeal and I respect it for what it is, but I'm not going to be listening to this one very much.
My argument with those people who are like, oh, it's artistic, you won't get it. Honestly, as a longtime fan of this album, this is not art. This is just freak out psychedelic music. I just happen to like it. This is not artistic. If someone argues to you, be like, this is too artistic for you. I'm like, no, this is just Sid Barrett freaking out on drugs.
Just Sid being Sid, and you either get it or you don't, I guess.
This is not genius. It's like if someone's like, oh, Negative Creep by Nirvana is genius. No, it's not. It's just Negative Creep. It's just people who like, anyone who likes Negative Creep, good for them. But I like it. but definitely not artistic. Dark Side of the Moon, though, if that's an album where, yeah, I will fully agree with Scott. It's like, yeah, that is artistic. There's a meaning behind it. This album, there's no meaning behind it. It's just Sid Barrett going, like, this album and David Bowie's 67 album are just like weird freak out albums. I just happen to like those two albums.
Well, we have several comments, so I'm going to catch up on these. Hello, Collins. How are you? Jacob Martin, my brother, Scott are all in the house. Ryan there too, I guess. I mean, I suppose it's my channel, so Ryan just makes me want to throw another brick in the wall. Oh yeah, well I'll remind you of that comment when we do Kitchen Talk next week. Another Brick in the Wall is my favorite song of theirs. I loved hearing it in The Faculty. Oh yeah, that was in The Faculty. Shout out to The Faculty. That movie is quite good. The Beatles should have made a deal and got Sgt. Pepper to be called Dr. Pepper and make it a tie-in song. That sounds like a terrible idea. They would still be making back off that song. Well, Paul would. I mean, Paul makes money by breathing, so like I don't think he necessarily needs it. Last one from me, but it was a missed opportunity for Michael Bay not to use Dark Side of the Moon for Transformers Dark of the Moon. You know, you may be onto something with that. You may be onto something with that. We've got a wild Jason the Old Millennial in the chat. Hope you guys are doing well. The first couple albums are rough for me.
You're not alone there, Jason.
I was going to say my first memory is hearing Another Brick in the Wall on the radio on my way to school. I, of course, liked the line, "We don't need an education." So,
Dr. Pepper's lonely, Dr. Pepper's lonely, Dr. Pepper's lonely Hearts Club Band. I had to do that after hearing it.
That worked.
Oh, I get by with my 23 flavors. Ooh, I get high on my 23 flavors.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 23? Just like the 23 lovely flavors of Dr. Pepper.
Yes, Dr. Pepper gang.
Well, as far as my memories of Pink Floyd, I remember first listening to The Wall in high school. I think it was Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, which is like the thing that they're known for to a generation. And I'm like, this is a good song. And then I like go to the album and I like listen to it. Like, there's a part 1 to this. And then I listen to that and I'm like, okay. And then I listen to the whole thing over a span of a couple days. And I'm just like, this is like the concept album. Now, I know there's like Quadrophenia and Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. And there are other concept albums that I've listened to and have enjoyed to certain extents, but this is like the concept album. And then a couple of years ago at my local museum, they do it every second Saturday of the month. They set to music lasers and they make images on the planetarium roof. It's phenomenal. I can't recommend it enough if you're ever in the area. But one night they did Dark Side of the Moon, and it was a short enough album to where they set it all to lasers, and it was just the greatest thing. And they still play it regularly, and I always go back to it, even though I know what's gonna happen. Like, I know like every image of the screen, I know the devil's gonna pop up, and it's going to like be the dog and the pig fighting over the piggy bank, like to money to get back. And like, I know everything that's going to happen, but I still go back to it anyway. And just, like I said, Wish You Were Here, Dark Side of the Moon, and The Wall are like 3 of my absolute favorite albums of all time. Like I said, regardless of genre or era or any criteria, like they're easy top 3 for me. I've never sat down and done a full-on like favorite albums of all time list like Nick has. But if I ever do one day, those 3 will easily be in the conversation. The Beatles Sell Out album. Oh man, can you imagine? Can you imagine Paul popping out of a can of beans like, "Hello"?
Well, the Who kind of did that.
Yeah.
That was Nick's favorite album at one point.
Yes. Now it's about an album with a robot on the front of it.
Well, let's get into the Piper at the Gates of Dawn, starting off with track number 1, Astronomy Don't Mine. Nick.
I'm
Before
gonna throw
I
out a quick
begin,
little flag here. It's in Latin. It's pronounced Astronomy Domine.
Oh, well, thank you for correcting.
As a choir student.
No, well, as a fellow choir student, I should have known that it was Domine. Like,
Not do, daw with a tall vowel, domine.
get off your phone.
I only say that because my choir teacher would drill that in me. Like, no, he would stop. No, it's not do, it's daw, over and over again.
I'm gonna invite you back on the channel, Scott. We're just gonna exchange choir stories.
Yes, I would totally be up for that stream. I have so many good ones.
And before we begin, you guys, Jake and Scott enticed me for Dr. Pepper, so thank you guys. I wasn't craving it, but that comment and Scott holding up his Dr. Pepper was like, I'm like, gosh darn it, I need Dr. Pepper now.
See, maybe 3D Jake was onto something there. Dr. Pepper.
You're proving John Carpenter right when he made They Live, Nick. Like, come on.
Yes, Briar, I have mentioned an album with a robot on it.
Yeah.
Nick is like, you guys know I like Queen.
If we say the name of Queen 3 times,
there he is. Like, there he is.
An album cover with a robot on
I
it.
spotted you, Briar.
We didn't even say Queen, but twice.
Good to see you, Briar.
There you go. All right. As for the review, this is a very interesting way to open up the discography. You start off with what sounds like some weird radio thing beginning. Very, very strange. And it's like beep, 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 beep. Like, what's going on here? And the guitar though. The lyrics though, lime and the greenness and I seen the lights before, bum 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 bum. This is a freak out song, and what an interesting way to open up the album. I don't know what the sound effect is, but the like,
I think that's Roger singing.
And I think this is an awesome album opener. You know what pisses me off? This was not on the US version.
Interesting.
That's what I'm like. How can you leave this off the US version? I don't know how. This is one of the best tracks on the album, and they left it off. But I digress. Very, very, very awesome album opener. I really like it.
All right, Jacob.
All right. So this song, this is a weird one. This one has a weird sound effects that Nick was talking about. Very much a psychedelic song all the way through. I'm not even going to dissect what this song is about, but when I was listening to it, I think the first time I was listening to this album, I was driving in my car and I heard the album, and hearing this song made me feel like I was in outer space. Like, I don't know, this has like an outer space vibe to it. And I think I like that about the song. I might be off on the meaning of the song, but I think I like the production of it. I can't tell what Sid Barrett is singing on this song. He sounds coked out of his mind singing it. But as far as like the production of it and like the overall vibe, I think this is one of the more memorable songs on the album. I can't say it's an amazing song or anything. I don't love any song on this album, but considering what's on this album, I think this is one of the better songs. It's in my top 3.
All right, Scott.
So when you hear this album start and you get those radar beeps, like do 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 do, and then the guitar is just like boom 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 boom. You get like astronauts talking on radios, like you can't really tell what they're saying, but there's like astronauts talking on radios, and I'm pretty sure that like I have not read the lyrics, but I know that I'm pretty sure it's just Sid Barrett like listing the names of the planets and stuff. So this pretty much is supposed to just be like an outer space theme song. Spacey is a good word to describe it. It's it's an experience. You kind of just have to listen to this song for yourself. But I actually really like this one. I think it's really creative, and I love the use of stereo panning on this. Like things will just pop into one ear and go into another ear and just go like that for no good reason, other than whoever the sound engineer was wanted to trick your brain into like, where is it coming from? But yeah, no, I actually really like this one.
I really like this one too. I think this is in my top 5. I quite enjoyed it. It kind of planted the seeds, in my opinion anyway, for like what we would get in songs like Money, where like the sound effects where it like opens with the cash register opening and the coins dropping and like the money like flipping around and everything, and how it just slowly transfers into the actual song. I feel like we're not there yet, but we're getting close. But one thing I wanted to point out before I forgot, and I pulled up the video. On the video for this song, Pink Floyd is spelled Floyd. And I'm just sitting there like, that is not how you spell Floyd, guys. Like, come on. Like, what? The video itself is interesting. It's just band footage, but I just was like, Floyd?
Maybe it took a little too much of that devil's lettuce.
Some a little stronger than that.
The wacky tobacco. But
I want to shout out real quick. This isn't even the best version of this song. A few albums later, when we get to Gumma, that's a weird album, but it has a live version of this song that's even better. It has David Gilmour on lead vocals.
Ooh, that's gonna be very good when we get to
It's
that.
even better than this one. And
I gotta say, sorry, Scott. You were saying something?
Oh, I just wanted to say that there's not really as many because it's live. They don't have the radio noises, so it's a little more straightforward. But
yeah, I gotta say it. I've said this to Scott many times already, though. The live disc of Gumma to me saves the album from getting a really low score. Scott, I think Scott will agree on that.
Yeah, the studio disc is. You think this is tough to get through? Oof.
Well, let's press on now to track number 2, Lucifer Sam. So Nick.
I don't know about you guys, but the guitar riff with the boom 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 boom. It sounds like a James Bond. It sounds like it could have been used for a James Bond theme. I've always thought that ever since I first heard the song until now. I'm like, this could have been used for a James Bond theme. Anyways, really, really good song in my opinion. It's about a cat. Lucifer Sam, Siamese cat. I know. Briar's still here. Cat. I don't know if I spawned him again, but yeah. Always love me a song about a cat, but it's a nice rock song. It's more straightforward compared to the other songs on the album. This is one of the more straightforward songs, so it's not weird or anything. So I feel like this is a song we could all agree on as being normal compared to some of the other songs. And to me, this is another really great song on the album. This has always been one of my favorites on the album ever since I've heard the album originally.
Yeah, considering what else is on this album, it's one of the more normal songs.
This is as normal as Barrett era Floyd gets.
But Jake,
there's probably about 3 songs you can argue are more straightforward, and strangely, the song with the title "Lucifer Sam" is one of them.
That's true.
Yeah, this is one of the better songs on the album. Again, I do like the guitar work. It's got a pretty good production behind it. It's one of the catchier songs on the album. But funny thing is, when I first heard Lucifer Sam, and when you realize that it's something about a cat, the first thing that popped in my head was the Disney version of Cinderella because they named the cat Lucifer in that movie.
That may have been what they based this song off of. I'm not sure though.
Maybe, but yeah, this one did make my top 5. One of the better songs on the album. I'll let you know when we get to the ones I really struggled to get into.
So this one kind of sounds more just like a straightforward 1960s rock song, but with that little Pink Floyd spin on it. I like the guitar on there, and I think it's funny that it's a song about a cat, but I think it's just kind of all right. It's one of the songs I like better on the album, but it's not one I feel like I'd go back to a lot.
To Nick's point, this definitely did sound like a James Bond theme. And the album came out in 67, and Goldfinger came, or not Goldfinger, but Dr. No came out in 62. So we're like really into the peak of that Sean Connery era of Bond. So you like plug and place that into something like You Only Live Twice, which I believe came out around the same time. That would have fit. But this is top. This is a top 5 song too. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, and like I said, it just felt like a fun rock song, and I feel like there was just. I mean, I'm with you, Scott, on the re-listenability of it. I can agree with you on that, but I feel like that's the only thing holding it back for me. But I just realized I've got my lower thirds backwards, so. There we go. That is better. Let's get into Matilda Mother. I had Mother Matilda. No, it's the other way around. So, Nick.
Mother Matilda.
Mother
That would have been an interesting name. But I like this song. This is another big highlight. This is you get a first lead vocal of my favorite Pink Floyd member of the band, Richard Wright. I love this song. The lyrics are good. It's not so far. We're still in kind of somewhat normal territory. Still not. Trust me, there's gonna be a couple weird songs. One about gnome, one about a bike, but still, I feel like we're still somewhat in normal territory. I like there was a king who ruled the land. His Majesty was in command with silver eyes, the Scarlet Eagle. Like this sounds like kind of reminds me of like Lucy and Sky with Diamonds with like kind of like the words and all that. There's a part of the song where it's like, why'd you have to leave me there, sitting in the ba-ba-bum. And yeah, I think it's Roger Waters doing the waiting up, like interesting. But I really like this song. This to me, I like Richard Wright's vocals. Sid Barrett comes in at the end. I think that's pretty cool too. But to me, this is one of my favorites on the album.
All right, Jacob.
First thing I see the title Matilda Mother, I'm like, Matilda had a horrible mother. You can watch that movie from the 90s. I'm like, this is what
she was pretty bad.
Yeah, Sid Barrett was ahead of. I don't know when the book was written before the movie. So it's like, was Sid Barrett ahead of them? I don't know. But yeah, this is another all right song on the album. I do like the production. I think this one had one of the better choruses that really stood out. It sounded like a different vocal singing. I can't tell you much about Richard Wright, but I think he did a good job singing this song. Some of the lyrics I thought was pretty interesting. It's not one I'll go back to compared to other Pink Floyd songs I know, but like with the Astronomy song, this is still one of the better songs on the album, and this one made my top 5 as well.
All right, Scott.
This is an interesting song to say the least. Lyrically, it's basically about a mom reading her son a story, and that's about all I got out of it. But the beginning is like her reading the book, and the kid's like she like stops and he's like, finish the story or something like that. And Roger Waters is like the voice of the mom, which Nick was talking about earlier. He's like, waiting, or whatever it is. And that's interesting. But again, I don't see myself going back to this song very much. It being kind of just one in one ear and out the other one.
So I think this will be number 5, like on my ranking. I liked it. However, I feel like I'm with Scott on this one in that it's good, but I don't think I'll rush to go back and listen to it again. However, this next song, I actually, tipping my hand, I actually quite enjoyed this one, Flaming.
Flaming. So it has a really weird sound effects in the beginning with the. I'm like, some of these weird sound. Some of these, it's like, I feel like they do weird sound effects for the sake of doing weird sound effects. Not gonna decrease the score on the album, but there are some times where I'm like, did this really have to be in there? But I digress. Otherwise, I think the song's really nice. I really enjoy it. Waiting on a night of hell. Oh no, you can't hear me because something about that. It's like it's good. It's like I like it. I could see where some people will be like, "What is this?" But again, some weird sound effects throughout the song. But I think this is a nice song. Not one of my favorites on the album, but I like it.
All right, Jacob.
This was just okay. I don't really have too much to say on it. I listened to the song, thought it was all right, forgot about it afterward. Listened to it again, felt the same way. It's not awful. It's not anything special either.
There's some really weird noises that they make at the beginning of this song. Thankfully, it's only for a few seconds, but at first it's like, what? And then it gets into the song. I like the part that goes something about, you see me now, can you? Or something like that. That's all I can remember about this song, really. It's not one of the more memorable songs here on the album.
So, like I said, I really enjoyed this one. And if you thought the sound effects on this one were very weird, like, let's take a look at this next one once I...
It has a weird title.
Yeah, that's
I can't
why
even
I'm...
pronounce it.
I don't even know what it's supposed to mean.
Like, literally, the title of the song is this.
Power talk
space
H.
R dot talk dot H dot. Anyway, this
maybe
song,
maybe they're typing out the sounds they make at the beginning. Power talk, power talk.
Sounds like an orchestra falling down the stairs to me, but anyway, Nick.
Hey, two snare drums and a cymbal fell off of a cliff one day.
All right. I've said this before, I'm a big fan of this album, but I will say this. This and another instrumental on this album are very, very weird. One of which I actually enjoy. This one, it's okay. It's not one of my favorites on the album. I mean, it's my least favorite song on the album. I wouldn't say song. It's one of my least favorite on the album. I like it at first. I mean, I think it's a really cool instrumental. I mean, of course, I know I'm definitely gonna be alone on this, but it's interesting to hear Roger Waters start off as just kind of like the sound effects guy with the.
I know he'll be getting much more Roger Waters sound effects a few albums later.
Yeah, some including some animals, but I digress. We'll get to that when we get to. Oh my god, we'll get to that later. But it's an interesting track. I mean, it's weird. I'm not gonna say like, oh, this is artistic. If you don't like it, you don't get it. It's one of those. This is interesting. It's interesting. Would I go back to this track willingly? No, but it's good. I like it. I think it's cool.
All right, Jacob.
Yeah, the first bit of the song was very rough. All those sound effects was really starting to weird me out, especially when it kept going. What? I'm like, what? What were they on? Uh, as soon as like you get to the actual instrumental stuff, it's not an awful instrumental. There's this really good piano solo I wasn't expecting from Pink Floyd of all people. I don't know who did the piano part.
Richard Wright.
Richard Wright. All right. Thank you, voice in my ear. That sounded like Scott.
A little voice deep within me. If you
But
can
yeah,
Take
I,
care.
I will say of the two instrumentals, this one is more tolerable compared to the other one, which I'll say my thoughts on that when we get there. But it's still not one I'm going to go back to though, especially because of those weird, awful sound effects at the beginning. That's just no.
All right, Scott.
This is so weird. All those weird noises at the beginning that they're making. I'm just like, huh? It's not if there were drugs involved with this song. It's how many of them were involved with the making of this song. Because it is probably a lot. It's just like, or what, I don't know. Jacob did it better. I can't even imitate it. It's just yeah, like that. And then it's an instrumental. So I'm like, oh, you're gonna open an instrumental with that. And then the instrumental itself is okay, but I'm just like, what really makes me upset is that on the US version of this album, they took off Astronomy Domine and replaced it with CMLA Play, but they left this one on there. I'm like, this is the prime example of a track that you could have replaced this weird thing. Could have put the CMLA Play on there instead of this one, but oh well, we're gonna keep. Nope. This one's gonna be a no. Next.
Yeah, I did not like this one at all, and it just like I said, it just felt like it was an orchestra falling down the stairs, and it just like it was at that point where the sound effects really started to get to me, where I turned into T-Pain, where I said, do something else, do something else. I was done. I was just done with them just being like, blah, 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 blah. Like, guys, I know it's the late 60s. Everyone was doing drugs and LSD and all that, but literally do something else, I beg of you, please. But apparently the drug use was so bad that stethoscopes were walking. But take up your stethoscope and walk, or thy stethoscope and walk. Nick?
So, interesting thing to note about this song is that this is not Richard. This is Roger Waters' first written and lead vocals. So the man behind Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, Animals, Wish You Were Here, and all that other stuff. Wish You Were Here, if I didn't say that already. This was his first contribution to Pink Floyd. And it's weird. It's really, really weird. I'm like, this is the guy who gave us Dark Side of the Moon? But I like it. I mean, a lot of it's instrumental, but I like it. I mean, I'm in bed. I like that part of the fight. It's funny with the my favorite part of the song is at the very end when it starts to ramp up with the drums. I think the drums are great on this, but when Waters like, music seems to wash the pain, motivates the ba-ba-bum. I like it's kind of like heavy at the end there, and I really like it. I wish that was like that in the entire song, but I digress. It would be like my favorite song on the album. But I'm in bed, by Agent Red. Realize. I'm like, it went from a decent song to like a really good song with the end there. To me, the ending's what makes the song, in my opinion. But yeah, I love the ending, but otherwise, it's a decent song.
All right, Jacob.
The best thing about this album is there's a cool little guitar jam session near the end. The rest of the album, or the rest of the song. Crazy thing is, you brought Roger Waters on this, and yeah, he contributed to a lot of great stuff in Pink Floyd, especially on the Wall album, which I forgot to mention this earlier. I have heard the Wall album before. Really good album. I'm excited to get to that one. You listen to this and like, this is the same guy that came up with Another Brick in the Wall, parts 1, 2, and 3. It's going to take a while. That's all I'll say.
Bit of a learning curve there, but Scott?
This is a pretty bonkers song. Not gonna lie. I don't really like this song. I hate when they go, "Doctor, doctor." I'm like, you need to see a doctor if you're going like that. I was like, this is the drugs talking, isn't it?
It's been the drugs talking, Scott.
Yeah. Like, do I have to take drugs for this album to make sense?
Apparently.
Because I'm not getting it. Yeah, this is another no.
So, this might be controversial, but here goes. I actually like this song. It's in my top 5. I don't know why I liked it, but I did. It was kind of fun, and maybe I just was desensitized to it by this point. I'm just like, yeah, let the stethoscope walk. Just why not? But let's flip the album over and let's get into the 9-minute 41-second epic known as Interstellar Overdrive. Nick?
All right. Yeah, this song, I wouldn't say song, instrumental. I think this is one of the best tracks on the album. I really like it. Yes, I know this is not for everyone. There's a lot of like weird moments of this track, but I really like it. It's really cool. I really like the beginning with the I love that. But it's a lot of. I feel like this would have been a lot better if this was like in their like prime, like in the classic period. This would have been even better, actually. Believe it or not, even though I prefer early Pink Floyd, but this would have been even cooler. Like if this was like on one of their epics. But I actually really enjoy it, and it goes strangely well into the known, which we'll get to that next.
Jacob?
So you get to the first 2 minutes of this song. I was actually kind of vibing to the guitar work on. I'm like, okay, is this an instrumental track? If it is, I'm really starting to get into it. And this is going to be one of the funnest songs on the album. And then the drugs kick in. And the weird noises start happening. Again, I was driving when I first heard this album. I was like, what am I listening to? And it just kept going and going. I'm like, how long is this song? And then later I found out it was about 10 minutes. I'm like, 10 minutes of this? Like, what are they thinking? This is Revolution 9 before it was Revolution 9. This is Revolution LSD.
Like
that's all this song is. It was all white noise. The song was like, I'm like, oh, my brain just can't take any of this. Like, people call this music? No, that's just noise. I would rather hear a screeching cat out on a lawn than the 10 minutes of whatever this was. This is how bad this song is. I'm gonna say it. Garbage. Garbage. This song's awful. This is easily the worst track on the album.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm surprised it took nearly an hour for a trash can to show up in this stream. I thought it would be sooner.
Most of these songs are just like they're weird, but I wouldn't call them trash.
I'm on this one. This one took the cake for me. Like it gave me flashbacks to Revolution 9 and Revolution 8.5 or whatever that one CCR did, like Rude Awakening number two and
number 2.
Jacob's hearing voices. All of them.
A little voice deeper than me.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
But Scott.
So apparently this was the centerpiece of their live shows back in the day. And if it makes you feel any better, Jacob, I heard that the band said they weren't particularly happy with the way that it turned out on the album because it sounds a lot more disjointed and unfocused than it did in a live setting in the studio. That being said, I have watched some live footage of them performing this, and yeah, no, it's still weird. The first 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes of this song are amazing. It shows that they are a really good band. They are great musicians. But after you get past the first 3 minutes of this song, it's almost like 3 different songs in one. It goes from this really cool, trippy rockin' instrumental to everyone forgot what they were playing and just decided to play whatever the heck they wanted. It feels like Syd Barrett is just playing random stuff on the guitar. You can hear Richard Wright playing the organ, and the stuff he's playing is very disjointed with the other stuff. And that goes on for about like 5 minutes, and it's just like, what? Why? That was just taking way too long. They eventually get back to what they were doing at the beginning, but it's at like the 8-minute mark. So it's like it's almost not even worth it to get back into the when it kicks in again, because you have to sit through so much noodling on this. It's just like it doesn't work when all of you are noodling. Like somebody got to keep the rhythm and take turns and let them solo. Like Roger, Sid, like keep the Nick, keep the beat and let Richard Wright do a keyboard solo, and then you guys can stop and then let Syd Barrett do a guitar solo. Like you can't all be playing all this at the same time or it turns into ugh. Anyway, these people are very competent musicians, but they need to sober up a bit before they can make some good music, because the drugs are, some people would say that the drugs are the reason this is good, but I think the drugs are hindering their creative process here.
You know, I think it was I don't know if it was Tony Iommi or Geezer Butler who talked about how drugs like helped with the first several Black Sabbath albums, and then they just like got in the way. I feel like it was the opposite with this band. Is like they got in the way.
The drugs are getting in the way of the music, and it's like I don't want to hear the drugs talk. I want to hear what you guys have to write.
But I mean, I don't think I can add anything onto what Scott said other than at a certain point, I morphed into Steve Martin from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where I was like, have a point. It makes it far more entertaining for the listener. But anyway, let's go from I was going to say the longest to the shortest song on the album, but it is not the shortest album. It's not the shortest by 2 seconds. Let's get into The Gnome. Nick.
The Gnome. I love this song. And I love the way it transitions to, it's like dum 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 bum 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 bum. Yeah, the big adventure. It's like, this is like some Small Faces type shit. Like, I can imagine the Small Faces rocking this out. if you know, you know. A certain album.
I know.
About
Hovery, Moon and Dangly.
Hovery. You know what? I can imagine this be like a rejected part of that part of the album. Like I can imagine like Steve Mary like, do we talk about the gnome in the song? It's like, nah, give it to Pink Floyd. Maybe they could do it. hover. This is the part where we go to the gnome to find the other half of the moon. But anyways, I love the song. It's stupid, it's childish, but I like it. You know, you're talking to the same guy who really loves County Fair by the Beach Boys. So it's a fun song. This is definitely the most normal sounding song on the album. It's not like weird or psychedelic. It's just about a gnome. And I can imagine David Bowie listening to this and is like, maybe I should do this as well. Rubber band. You know, it's like, anyways, I really like this.
All right, Jacob.
The gnome coming after Revolution LSD. This was actually a breather. I actually enjoyed this song. This song, there's a little bit of psychedelic, but there's a little bit of folksiness to it. And I'm like, man, I wasn't expecting this out of Pink Floyd. And singing about gnomes too. So you got that fantasy element in there. I thought this was a normal-ish song that I actually really dug. This is one of my favorite songs on the album. It's not great, but I like the normalcy of this song. I like the writing of this song. The storytelling's pretty good. There's some good guitar work on here too. I'm like, yeah, I'll take this one. I like the gnome.
All right, Scott.
I actually like this one. So it's interesting. This song sounds like what you get whenever you cross an early David Bowie song with a little of the Kinks thrown in, maybe. And you know what? I like that about it. This is definitely not one of my favorite Pink Floyd songs, but as for this album, I thought it was pretty good. It's a fun little folksy song about a gnome that goes on an adventure. It's very British. It's something fun if you just want to throw it on and just, have a little chuckle.
I wonder if they tried to make it about a hobbit and they couldn't because of copyright reasons.
Didn't stop Led Zeppelin.
It didn't stop Leonard Nimoy.
That's very
say Led Zeppelin.
Bilbo back. But
I find that highly illogical.
This one missed out on my 5, but I still liked it. It was fun, and especially after just Interstellar Overdrive, which was like started out good, but then like I guess Pink Floyd just became a cat and they saw a laser and they were just chasing after the laser for 7 minutes. It was nice. It was a nice change of pace. I'm like, we have found a canteen of water in the desert. But let's go on now to chapter 24. Nick?
This is one of my favorite songs on the album. I don't know why. It's another song where I love the vibe. This is a song where I love the vibe of it. I don't know what to describe this song, but it's like psychedelic, but it's an interesting song, but it's like a movement is a bum 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 bum. To me, this is one of my favorite songs in the album.
This is the before they what?
Can we get a series on Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner albums? I'm down to do it.
He pulls out the cigarette. She packed my bags last night, pre-flight. 0 hours, 9 a.m. And I'm gonna be high.
I'm down to do it by then. I'm down to do it.
And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find. Oh no! I'm a rocket man.
Rocket man.
Burning out his fuse up here alone.
Spunk. But Jacob, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to disappoint Nick, but to me, this is the Before They Make Me Run of this album. Like this song was a snooze fest. At least Before They Make Me Run had a rockin' riff and Keith Richards singing his heart out. This song, I was just like, this song was boring as sin.
I wish I could. I want to disagree with you, but I forgot what Before They Make Me Run sounds like, so I can't disagree.
True.
I didn't care for this one at all. Not it's one of the weaker songs on the album, but this one's low only because I barely remember anything out of this song. And why is it called Chapter 24? I'll never know.
I think it might have something to do with the album title, because I know the album title does have something to do with the book.
Oh yeah, what's
With
it called? Piper at the
Pan.
Gates of Dawn was a chapter in
Pan.
The Wind in the Willows, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
No,
it might have
I'm
been chapter 24.
Hang on, I've got it in front of me. Where is it? I just saw it here. I could have sworn I thought it said something having to do with like Peter Pan, but I could be way off.
Peter Pan.
No, that's not it.
I found it, Ryan. Right out of the Wikipedia page. It says the album's title, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn, refers to the little G god Pan as depicted in the 1908 book The Wind in the Willows.
Oh, so Scott was right.
I didn't know that was the character in The Wind in the Willows. Wasn't in the Disney version.
I don't know about Mr. Toad, but this album is definitely a wild ride. And Jacob, I'm gonna continue that train. This is the Before They Make Me Run of this album. I do not remember anything about this song. I remember it was short. I remember it was okay, and I didn't remember anything else about it. It was there. It left. Next.
They actually made a music video for this, and it's like them just like playing their instruments and walking around. And I'm just like, the days where you could just make a music video just be them just milling about doing nothing. This is not a bad song. It just, I kind of nothing to this song. It really didn't do all of that much for me personally. But now we go from gnomes to scarecrows. So Nick,
I like this one. This is another song I enjoyed. It's kind of like has like kind of like a whimsical feel to it, like a kind of like a hobbity sound to it with a. I enjoy it. Not one of my favorites on the album, but I enjoy it. It's I believe it's a B-side to one of their singles.
all right, Jacob.
I actually dug this one too. This and the Gnome really surprised me going in the back half. I'm like, after Interstellar Overdrive, I'm like, is this album gonna pick back up again? And this is another one. It's very similar to the Gnome, but there's it's a little bit more psychedelic and compared to the Gnome. The Gnome's a little bit more folksy. But I actually like the creativity of this song. I think both the Scarecrow and the Gnome, really showed what Syd Barrett could have done if he hadn't have abused the drugs too much. Like, I would have loved to see him do a more folksy rock album, just singing about weird little stuff between these two songs. And this was the side of Syd Barrett I really liked. Like, even with the goofy way he sung these two songs, I think added a charm to it. I think I like the Gnome a little bit more, but this is still one of the highlights on the album for me.
All right, Scott.
I totally agree with Jacob. Like, maybe if Syd Barrett wasn't doing all those drugs, we would have got more stuff like this song and the Gnome song. I can definitely see his appeal. Like, he has songs like those two songs that are about, like, little creatures or whatever, with the Britishness of it and with the folksy elements. Like, I can definitely see the appeal of that, but I feel like it kind of has like childlike whimsy to it, instead of talking about big serious things, he just wants to sing about gnomes and scarecrows and stuff. I get that. But I think the drugs is, like we said earlier, the drugs is kind of what harmed this album. It just took that and ramped it up to who knows what. But I like this song. It's really good. I don't like it as much as the Gnome, but I enjoy this one. It's fun.
Yeah, I liked this one as well. The video of this is thankfully a bit more interesting. It's them playing their instruments on a lake, which is a bit of a step up. But let's close things out by taking a look at I Want to Ride My Bicycle. Oh, wait, that's the wrong band.
No.
But
Ryan wore his shirt for this song specifically.
Yes, I did.
All right. So this is a song. I'm going to say it as what Ryan would say. This is a song of two halves. I really like the first half. I've got a bike, bum, 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 bum. I love that. And then you're the kind of ghost who fit in my world. I'll take you anywhere, anything if you want to. I love that. The song part of it's really, really good, and I love the part where he harmonizes with Richard Wright. I think that's awesome. The second part of this song, on the other hand, I will say this is weird even for me. I'm like, I always take the record out of it. I always take the needle out of the record after the song part of it's over. I just, okay, great end to the album. That's how it ends, you know. That second part of the song, no. Personally, any bit of negativity you guys have toward the song because of that is more than justified. I think the first half more than makes up for it. Plus, I could always lift the needle. So that's how I justify it. But won't affect my score, but I will say the second half of the song is very bizarre.
All right, Jacob?
Well, I'll start with the second half of the song. I'll get that out of the way. To me, it's just as bad as Interstellar Overdrive. It's just obnoxious white noise. Couldn't stand any of it. At least it was shorter, though. I'll give it credit for that. But where I'll disagree with Nick is I think this song was annoying. Like, I want to ride my bike. I want to ride my bike. I like my bike. I'm like, no. There's a difference to me between a song that's gleefully goofy and obnoxiously annoying. And this one fell on the annoying side, and I was getting sick of it fast. So I don't like either half of this song. And to me, this is the second worst song on the album behind the Interstellar Overdrive. This one was just obnoxious.
All right, Scott?
I'm going to take this song in 3 different angles. First, the lyrics. The lyrics are actually kind of cool. It's like, you know, this guy has a very, and it kind of is going with the other Syd Barrett songs on this album, but he has a very childlike and innocent view of the world. And maybe he thinks that girls don't like that, but he found a girl who is cool with being in his childlike whimsy kind of a world. And he wants to get her everything that he has, a bike, a rat, or anything else he can find. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Now on to the music. This is a song. This is a song. I thought the melody was kind of grating. It's like, I got a bike, I ride it where I like. You know, it's like that kind of thing. It's like kind of getting on my nerves there. And then the end. That's the third thing. It starts out with all this like mechanical chattering, like a wind-up toy, and then you get this annoying laugh that's like. It reminds me of the end of the Batman movie, the Tim Burton Batman movie, where Joker has his laugh box.
Oh no!
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. I'm like, am I listening to the Joker's laugh box? What is this? Like, is this what the inside of Syd Barrett's head sounds like? Probably right now. But anyway, I did not like this one.
We've got a couple of, let me get rid of this. We got a couple of comments. Jason said, I kind of like this song.
Which
and
one?
Then Briar said, "Did someone want to ride a bicycle? Oh, wrong band. Never mind. I'll ride it." But yeah, I didn't care for this one. It's not terrible, but it just like Scott said, it's just starts out fine, and then it just shitays into like, what are we even doing here, people? Like that's like the story of this whole album. Starts out fine, and then it just shitays into, what are we even doing here, people?
Much like a drug trip.
Exactly. But we are at the end of the album, so let us go to scores. So, Nick, what is your score?
My score is going to be a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
It's definitely not a 10 out of 10. I respect the craft of this album, but it's not for me personally. I'm gonna go mixed positive on it for the songs I like, but it's not an album I'm gonna go back to that much. For me, this is getting a 6 out of 10.
Okay, Scott?
I feel like I'm being a little generous with my score, but I definitely respect this album for what it is, and definitely in the 1960s, them trying to do something that people had never heard before. I think that this would sound better when it was released, because you would hear it and you'd be like, whoa, far out, man. What are we listening to right now? You know? Which would be cool then, but unfortunately that makes it sound very dated now. I respect them for trying to be visionaries and do something different, but today, not all of this stuff lands. Respect it, but don't really like it, so I'm going to give it a 6.
Yeah, I'm going to side with the majority on this one. It's got some good songs. It definitely is historic because it's Pink Floyd's first album. But this is an album that, in my opinion, is just too weird to live and too rare to die. Like, it just gets so wrapped up in just doing all this extra nonsense when it didn't need to be that way. So there's good stuff on here for sure, but I don't know, I just didn't fall over myself in love with it. But I'm going to give it a 6. So by my math, that puts it out to a 7 out of 10. And
Better than I thought it was going to be.
well, I pass it off to all of you watching. What did you think of the album? If you're watching the
Are we going to give our top 5?
Yeah, that's all I've been asking. I was going to ask that. I'm like, I thought you were skipping that.
This is why I'm useless after 9:30. But Nick, what is your top 5?
All right. Thanks for saying something, Scott. Mine, I'm going to go back. I'm going to do a Scott this time. My number 1 is going to be Chapter 24. That's my favorite song on the album.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Before They Make Me Run on the album. Number 2. Number 2, The Gnome. Yeah, That High. I really like it. It's a fun song. Number 3, Matilda Mother. Number 4, Lucifer Sam, Siamese Cat. And my favorite, number 5 will be Astronomy Domine.
Jacob?
All right. My number 5 is Matilda Mother. Number 4, Lucifer Sam. Number 3, Astronomy Domine. Hope I said that right.
Yep.
Number 2, The Scarecrow. And number 1, The Gnome.
Okay,
Good
Scott?
to see the love for the gnome here.
The Gnome is,
I'm going to have to start.
this is a weird album when The Gnome is your favorite song on this album. But hey, it's better than Romeo and Juliet, so I'll take what I can get.
Hey, that movie introduced me to Elton John. At least it existed for a reason.
It was good for something.
I'm going to have to start at the bottom and work my way down just so that I can cross songs off the list. My favorite song is Astronomy Domine. Number 2 is going to be The Gnome. Number 3 is The Scarecrow. Number 4, I'm going to go with Lucifer Sam. And number 5, I guess I have to put Matilda Mother in there since it's one of the more normal songs. Everything else is just weird on this album.
All right, so my number 5 is Matilda Mother. Number 4 is Pick Up Thy Stethoscope and Walk. Number 3 is Flaming. Number 2 is Lucifer Sam. And number 1 is Astronomy Domine. And so with that, that is it for The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Put It to Bed. Next up in the series, we'll be taking a look at album number 2, which, like I said at the top, was packaged together with this one in the States in 1973 as A Nice Pair, which again is just a phenomenal name. Overall,
the album cover is exactly what you think it is too.
Overall, I don't mind the debut. I liked some of the tracks on it. I'd give it a 7. So Briar is a little bit higher than the majority on that one. But if you're watching on demand, let us know in the comments. We would love to read what you have to say. And it's a privilege to do this series with these guys. Nick, where can the people find you?
Townsend Fable 5, where as of the moment, I haven't made any videos as of recently. I was very focused on college. Next week is gonna be my week of finals. After that, I'll be out for the summer. So I'll be working, but no schoolwork I have to worry about. So that's about it for me. So I don't have much to say.
All right, Jacob, what about you?
They can find me on my YouTube channel. I do music discussions, movie reviews, a bunch of fun stuff. This is the only thing I had pretty much this week. I did revive Jake Sings. I just put some videos I hadn't uploaded yet, and I've been like uploading like crazy to just put some videos on the channel this week. But yeah, I got that coming up. Let's see. Some other collaborations, like discussing DreamWorks and Michael Bay and Don Bluth. I almost forgot about him. I'm getting really sleepy. My brain is whipped.
Well,
but yeah, that's. But it's fun doing this. Thank you, Ryan, for having us on, and hopefully, I like some of the other albums.
Yeah, like I said, this series has 3 of my favorites of all time, so I'm going to get way more positive down the road on this series.
Just get through the first 3.
Yeah. Scott, what about you?
Sound Lab Studios. Check it out. There's my banner in the background. We got Billy Joel reviews on my channel coming up. And this will be something interesting that I can announce now. We are going to have the very first modern music series on my channel in the Music Junkies. We're going over a band from the 2000s, Coldplay. So yeah, coming soon. I don't know when we're going to start that, but be on the lookout for the Parachutes review. Coming sometime, hopefully in the near future. And then we're also going to be starting a series on Foreigner sometime as well. So yeah, that'll be fun. The Jukebox Heroes, recently inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, good for them.
In a town without a name.
Took them long enough.
Yeah.
I'm not even a big fan of theirs, but it's like they had so many great they had a lot of radio hits, so I don't know how it took them that long.
Yeah. They were focused on all those rappers. They forgot about Foreigner.
Yeah, there used to get to a point where they're probably gonna be like, next up in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, LeBron James.
Don't put it past them. They might actually just do it.
Michael Jordan. Wayne Gretzky.
Shaquille O'Neal. But anyway, as far as this channel goes, I've got a lot of stuff going on. My Road to Mission Impossible series is about to get started. I just filmed the first part of it for Mission Impossible 1, so that's going to be coming to the channel very soon. Small Talk every Tuesday. Kitchen Talk every Thursday, where myself, Jacob Collins, and Matt Wyatt talk about Hell's Kitchen and laugh our heads off doing it. So, yeah, a lot of stuff coming. But thank you all so much for watching. For Nick, for Jacob, for Scott, we will see you all in the next one. You all have a very good night.